I've spent the last 4 days. Oh, he's so dead. Oh! Doing nothing but exploring free games that I had no idea even existed. Most of them were a disaster, but not all of them. I started off with a military sim that I'd heard about from the depths of Reddit. This is Operation Harsh Doorstep. There were less than 100 people online, but I joined the biggest server and spent the first game working things out and asking people what they think of the game. Hello. Oh, what is he doing? What's up, man?
What you saying, my boy?
Yeah, what do you think about this game? Oh, probably hates it now. This is essentially Hell Let Loose, with a couple more war crimes. I could pretty much instantly tell the game needed a couple more years of development because of various reasons, like being on low settings gives you cheats, for example. Honestly, the first round wasn't my greatest showing ever. I'll admit it. But it was enough to help the boys over the line to a win. Thankfully though, the second round was a completely different story. Oh, that was 2. Oh my god. This new map was a big-ass castle on top of a big-ass hill, and this is where I discovered proning. The only way to move in this game without making any noise is to prone. The only real way to get a jump on the enemy coming around the corner at light speed is to prone. And the only way to dodge bullets after being caught with your pants down is to prone. After a while, I also got pretty proficient with the rifle once I figured out you could change the fire mode, and then I discovered grenades. Hold on, what was that? Grenade? How do I throw it? Very nice. I learned pretty quickly that I probably shouldn't even bother using the grenades. But turns out when the enemy throws a grenade towards you, it's actually pretty hard to hear it. So you kind of have to rely on your teammates calling it out and just hope that they don't call it out just that little bit too late. Oh, he's so fucking dead.
Grenade.
Oh! Maybe it's just my virgin playstyle, but that long-range desert map was so fucking bad in comparison to the castle place. It's like the game is just made for the close-quarter orgies. You know, that's where it really shines. And honestly, the only thing this game is still missing is some more voice chat cancer, but thankfully, I knew exactly where to find that. This is the SCP universe, more specifically, SCP Containment Breach multiplayer. The only game I'd actually heard of before today, but working out is another story. In case you've never played it, players are either D-class personnel told to try escape the facility, or they're whatever the fuck you call these things. These things have escaped containment and are trying to stop the other players from escaping, or something along those lines. SCP is basically a spectator simulator, with the most wholesome voice chat you'll ever hear. These fucking shitheads, bro. Just like me, I assure you, you're guaranteed to close the game as a smarter, saner, and happier human than you were before. This actually wasn't my first time playing SCP. The first recording didn't go that great. So when I played SCP again, I was experienced. You know, I knew where to go and what to do. I think we won at some point. Wait, we won. We fucking won. Maybe not. I don't know who the fuck Class D is. And I think I even killed an SCP, which was harder than you think. This game and the whole SCP brand though is a masterpiece. But it's genuinely hard lasting more than an hour on the game without A, shitting yourself, or B, becoming victim to the void of copyrighted music and partially racist children screaming at each other with their mic down their throats. I think it's fair to say this is probably one of the most iconic free games in the world. So for my next game, I wanted to try something a little more obscure. To start, I looked for old adventure games, but somehow landed on a pretty recently released survival game with less than 20 players online. Turns out there's a reason the player count is barely double Ds. I think a big issue with this game is that it says it's an open world survival game, but at least to start with, it's the complete opposite. You're basically threatened and dragged by the ears to complete their story about being schizo and avoiding wolves. Crouching IMG. Alright, bro. What? I doubt you'll play the game yourself, so I'll just spoil the start of the story since I didn't get very fucking far anyway. I started the adventure off by breaking my leg and then quickly finding the conveniently placed medicine. And the medicine must have had something in it because I went schizo and started seeing things that weren't actually there. The story elements were decent, and eventually it all led me to a cave with this other fella. Motherfucker, why are you here? Obviously, you know how it goes. A bear sniffed us out, and so we tried to hide, but if you don't hide in a specific spot, then the game gets a little confused and doesn't really know what to do. Look at my mate over there. Who's a good boy? This is very awkward, buddy. There is not much either of us can do. Okay. But obviously this is just the prologue. I mean, the full game isn't coming out until at least February of next year, and the devs do seem to be trying their best given they're a pretty small team. But if you like the unnecessary torture of survival games like repeatedly resetting after dying to the dumbest shit possible, then it's for you. The focus is obviously on the story. I mean, it's a prologue, so it's all about setting the scene for the actual full game, if you're willing to buy it. Once I eventually did get that deer meat without instant death, I started climbing up rocks before realizing the only route out of this cave was directly into a magically appearing wolf. I tried jumping over the wolf and anything else my fried brain could think of, but it wasn't enough. Okay, I'm just gonna run past you, and we're just gonna chill out. Okay, go! This was about 4 hours into my day, and so far I hadn't really had much fun since the first game, so I decided to take a step back from the seriousness. That is just peak male physique in every sense of the word. Look at that. Have you ever wanted to become 400 pounds of pure muscle and trans fats just to throw rocks at another 400-pound man in the middle of the Himalayas? If the answer is yes, then you probably need some help, but you're also in luck. This is the great game of Paunch.
All right, best of 3, good luck. You know how to play, right?
Yeah, good luck.
The controls are very simple. I still haven't really figured them out, but mashing your mouse and the E key seemed to do something, so I didn't really change up my game plan after that. Come on! Holy shit. The first round I entered into was clearly rigged because there is no world in which that's a draw. The second round, I was lagging. And then I felt confident enough to 1v1 some people from my Discord. Hubie stepped up and it was close, but this was a seasoned veteran with some good rock throwing ability and dodging experience, but it wasn't enough. Yes! The second game was also as intense, with almost no rocks still in bounds by the end. Something about a combined 800 pounds of pure bold man just flopping on top of each other when they knock each other out is just the single most satisfying thing you'll ever experience. Come here, come here. Fuck! And after about the 2-minute mark, it genuinely starts to get a bit competitive. Especially when you're matched against another random fella with the most intimidating profile picture going. But if the world was ending and there was only one game I could play, it would be Paunch. It's been a while since I last played a game not available anywhere on the internet but one site. This is Betrayer. An adventure game that was initially on Steam but is now only on a site called GOG. Betrayer was initially released in 2014, and as you can see, the only colors are black, white, and red. The whole setting is somewhere off the coast of Virginia in 1604, and I run around shooting these soldiers, collecting money off their body, walking around, finding another soldier to shoot, and then rinse and repeat. Like a lot of things, I didn't really understand fuck all about this game, but the whole goal of any normal player would be to uncover mysteries about the world and the disappearance of certain colonies, but I never really got that far. After I'd actually stopped playing, once I got shat on by this guy, I realized you can actually turn off the color scheme for a more normal, vibrant game. Obviously, a lot of people were asking what color mode to play the game on, and surprisingly, the common consensus seemed to be not black and white, but the atmosphere, the black and white colors created was genuinely effective. It basically made the whole thing a lot more creepy, and for me it just doesn't make sense to ruin that aspect for just a bit of color. The nice thing about Betrayer though is that my hand wasn't being held. I can just go wherever I wanted, and that's probably an advantage of being released in 2014. Sometimes it's fun not being bitched around by some Fiverr narrator telling you how to open your inventory. You have to actually listen to your surroundings, and if you don't, then things tend to go tits up. Okay. Oh! Alright, we're good. This whole game is essentially a fever dream. So as you can imagine, I needed a bit of a break. And the best thing you can do when you're a little stressed out is to light stuff on fire. I kind of came into Pyro Works thinking it was a bit like that one game where you can just blow everything up and use mods to spawn nukes and simulate some pretty bad things. But the game's actually pretty grounded, and it's stubborn in not going further than some simple fireworks. Since the game is multiplayer though, I joined some random guy's server and watched them have fun since I didn't really know how to do anything. At some point, I gave up. I did the tutorial just to learn how to light things on fire, and then returned. Oh! Alright, well that's all I need to know. For some reason, the guys on the server kicked me, and then I joined another server where I was kicked again. Silver Chrysanthemum. They kicked me. And then I joined back, and I managed to light up some fireworks, but it wasn't anything special and definitely wasn't to the same level as the other guy's creation. At some point, I must have worked out that the real fun in this game is spawning in copious amounts of entities, and then lighting them all up on 1 FPS. Okay, what if I just spam this? It probably did fry every part of my PC, and that's all part of the fun. Also, please make sure your volume is at 100% when you play this game to get the full experience. I'm in. Holy shit. Oh, motherfucker. Props to the devs though. Seriously, as far as I know, it's definitely a small team, if not just one fella, and they did a beautiful job at penetrating my ears with some actually realistic fireworks. And now we stand back and observe the beauty. Wow. This is Rogue Company, the Fortnite version of COD released in mid-2021. Even though the game itself isn't that old, it's already gone through more history and stages than most 20-year-old classics.
Did my pickup work any distance?
Yeah, pick me up. I downed one.
Every single time you guys kill somebody, I'll give you $1,000.
We teamed up with Hi-Res, their new game, Rogue Company.
The all-time player chart is the classic initial boom and then slow decline with occasional bumps to modern day where the game still gets over 500 players a day. Even though the game does have players, finding a game proved to be harder than you think. Fine. Never mind. Someone failed to make it into the match, so we called the whole thing off. What is going on? And once I eventually found a match, I was put in a team of 4 with the mighty Spud McGee.
Hello?
Oh, Jesus. Hey, bro. How you doing?
Good.
Jesus.
Up the behind. I literally downloaded this game yesterday.
Oh my god, it's Mike.
Literally downloaded this game yesterday.
This guy was the most talented Irish Rogue Company player I've seen in my life.
Last round was like my first death in this game since I re-downloaded it. And that was because I was plugging in my headset.
Where you from?
Ireland.
Oh yeah. Should have probably realized that. The comms were pro level, and obviously it was a clean sweep with a hard carry from Spud McGee.
We fucking shit on him.
Easy, bro. Good stuff.
Oh, they don't get MVP. That is a fucking disgrace.
After that, Spud McGee was never seen again, but I did get a French replacement. Yeah. Hello? The voice chat alone honestly made this game beautiful, but the combat was surprisingly good and the whole idea of how the game works is actually enjoyable. The only mode you can play under level 4 though is Strikeout, so I ended up playing a lot of Strikeout. I won most of the time, until the game stopped giving us bots and the opponents were actual real human beings. What the fuck? Wait, that's a real person. It's a real person! It got a little tougher, and you'll quickly learn that everyone else seems to play this game a lot. And they managed to carry my ass to another win. Rogue Company is quite literally a combination of every FPS game you've ever known. After about an hour and a half, I did get myself to level 4 and queued a Battlezone game, which I thought was Battle Royale, but apparently it's completely different. You basically just race the chests in the middle and then kill each other, pretty similar to the last mode. But it turns out the other team had someone who is slightly better at the game than my entire team probably combined. And the whole thing ended quicker than it started. I did spend over an hour grinding to be able to play this mode, and my dreams were kind of crushed, but Rogue Company was infinitely better than I ever thought it was going to be, and I think the player count is evidence of the game still being pretty solid. Obviously nowhere near as solid as Spud McGee, but it's decent.
Hello?
Like a lot of FPS games though, the more you play, the more shit creeps up, like hackers. But the game itself is great, and the way it aims itself more at casual stuff is different to the sweatfest most games create. A lot of these games were recommended by you guys, so let me know what games you want to see me cover next in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss when I next upload. Also, thank you so much for 100k subscribers. That's like a little childhood dream of mine. Ticked off, so thanks for that. And Paunch is the greatest game on this planet.